welcome back to my channel. My name's Nicole, for those that don't know, and this is a little bit of a different video. This is actually just going to be a little bit of a like a vlog, I guess, and I'm just going to document my journey in a health direction that I'm going to take. So today is the 29th of January 2021, and at the end of last year, and basically for the last couple of years, I haven't been feeling very well at all. I've been suffering from heartburn. I have noticed that I can't tolerate milk, and I can't tolerate breads and all the things that I love and enjoy, and and I've packed on a lot of weight. I do have an underlying health condition. So basically I've been doing a lot of research over the years and stuff like that. So I'll start with when it all sort of began for me. Back in my late 30s, I'm now 50 years old. I turned 50 last August in 2020, and basically back in my 30s, I had my my fourth child, my youngest daughter, and I was about 36 years old when I had her. And basically I had a lot of problems after I had her with my menstrual cycle and everything just going absolutely berserk. Now, before anybody gets upset with me about the content or anything like this, as I said, this is just a vlog that I'm doing, and basically I'm just sharing. I don't even know if it's gonna go live. It's just going to be sort of like for me to look back on and all the rest of it. So basically I just thought it was normal. Like, I had heard from friends and stuff like that after their third or fourth child they had menstrual problems, being heavy or stuff like that. Now, I was one of those girls that got her periods late as a teen. I was about 15 when I got my period, or just turned 15, or just prior to 15. It's a long time ago. It was around that mark. It was around my birthday, and they only ever lasted for 3 or 4 days as a teenager. Never had any cramps, never had any issues or anything like that. And I was pretty much like that right through up until my late 30s, after I had my fourth child, and basically my whole body just went haywire. When my son, who is now 28, was about 3, my grandmother died, and I found out through my great aunties that there was actually a thyroid condition that ran through the females of our family. I've always been very thin, and I wouldn't say super active or anything like that, but I didn't shy away from, horse riding and being an active person and going to the beach and swimming and all that sort of stuff right up until I moved away from the beach, basically, which was in my 30s. And basically I found out, so that was 25 years ago, I found out that there was a thyroid condition that ran through the family and stuff like that. I was around 25 at the time when my grandmother passed away, and my mother had been subsequently had been suffering with thyroid condition, and she just thought it was something that happened to her. She didn't realize that there was actually issue within the family, the females of the family. So basically what happens is, for my grandmother, when she was 17, she apparently had her thyroid removed, or had surgery on it. I still haven't got a clear, definitive answer on that, because you know what it's like back in the day, no one talked about anything. And at that funeral, at the wake, when we're all sitting around talking and stuff like that, and her sisters were sitting there talking, and sister-in-laws were talking and stuff like that, this is the topic that came up. And basically they said that her sister said that they had the same issues, and that my grandmother had actually almost passed away when she was 17 from her thyroid going out of control. So I can only assume from that it was removed. I'm not 100% sure, or whether she she was on a lot of pills and stuff like that, and subsequently ended up with no kidneys and on dialysis for the last 13 years of her life. So she didn't have a good run. And so knowing what was happening to her and then having that information, my mother got help and all the rest of it. My mum went from a size 8 to 10 to blew out to nearly a size 20 in a very short space of time. I actually did not recognize her when I went to visit her, and I hadn't seen her for about 8 months, and I didn't recognize her. I just was blown away. I went, Mum, there is something wrong. She went to the doctors and got it sorted out, and then she went on thyroxine. Fast forwarding, we found out that information, and basically from there we found out that that was in the family, and both Mum and I have always suffered from headaches and stuff like that. And yeah, so fast forwarding to my late 30s, I was starting to fall apart. I honestly thought that I was going to end up with Alzheimer's. I was forgetting. I've always been a person that's had a phenomenal memory and stuff like that. I went from never having to keep lists, be able to remember phone numbers off the top of my head and all the rest of it, to having like this brain fog. It was about a year after I had Neroli, and in that year, once my my monthly cycle returned to its normal cycle, I started to get severe cramping. I was having my period more often than not, and basically my whole body just went haywire. I started packing on weight. Brendan was away at the time, and I didn't really link it up. He was working away for weeks at a time, and he'd come home and he'd be talking to me and I'd be falling asleep on the couch. And it was like I had narcolepsy or something, you know. It was wild. Like I have never experienced anything like that before in my life. And then I had a doctor's appointment about 12 months later, and I just thought it was normal, you know, like a new baby, you're tired all the time. Like I didn't even twig that there was something wrong. And it was when I started to get really frustrated and angry and just couldn't remember things and couldn't stay awake or anything like that, that I went to the doctors, and I walked in and she goes, "How are you?" And I burst into tears and basically explained everything that was going on in my life and all the rest of it, and subsequently went for a blood test, found out that my thyroid wasn't actually working very well. It was still working, but it wasn't working very well. So I wasn't producing enough of the hormone for it to function properly. So subsequently I was put onto thyroxine. My iron levels were also low and all that sort of stuff. I've always had low iron levels. It doesn't matter how much I eat or what tablets I take, I still seem to just have low iron every time they test me. I can't actually take a lot of iron tablets because they don't actually back me up. They have the reverse effect, and I get quite ill on them, so I don't take them. I just try to get as much as I can from the food that I'm eating. So fast forward into my 40s, I was exercising quite heavily. 5 years ago, I was calorie restricting. I was watching every single piece of food that was going into my mouth and all the rest of it, and I was still struggling to, well, I was maintaining weight, and I lost a little bit of weight. I lost about 10 kilos, which is not a little bit of weight by anybody's standards, but for my height and my frame and everything and how thin I was most of my life, I was still very, 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 very overweight. So at my heaviest, I've been 90 kilo. I don't know what that is in pounds. So 90 kilo. And I got down to with a lot of exercise. So I was walking 10 kilometers a day, plus I was also riding my bike, and I was in the gym for 45 minutes a day, Monday to Friday. I didn't do it on weekends, but I still went for walks, and I still was active with the kids and stuff like that, which was great. I was getting healthy, and you know, I wasn't putting on weight, but I wasn't losing a lot of weight either. I did end up getting down to about 76 kilos, and then I went, and that was for quite a number of years, and then I come across Emily Skye's program, and I bought her 30-day shred, I think it was the first one that I came across, and I bought her 30-day shred. So that had a program in it for weight bearing. So I was doing a lot of cardio basically, but then she had a weight bearing routine in there. So it was a lot of body weights and stuff like that. I didn't actually have to have any gym equipment, or anything like that. And I did that for a few years, and I subsequently got down to 69 kilos. So I ended up losing a lot of weight. But unfortunately, I couldn't maintain it. I just couldn't maintain it. And then my granddaughter came to live with us 5 years ago. She hated being on the bike. She hated being in the pram. And then I was tired all the time again, because she was only 7 months old when she came to live with us. And basically that meant that something had to give. And so the exercise went out the window. I still eat relatively healthy, and then it just completely went out the window. I just didn't care. And so subsequently I have put on all that weight that I lost from being at 90 kilos from my thyroid condition. I have put back on, not all of it. At this current day, I am 86 kilos. I haven't done my body measurements or anything like that, but I know that I am bigger because I have gone from a size 12 in clothing to a size 16 Australian sizes, and that's big. Okay, and I've got a few photos around that I can probably put together to show you that time where I was riding with the girls and stuff like that. So fast forward to the last 5 years, and so that was up until I was 45, and then in the last 5 years, basically diet has still been okay. I still eat a lot of vegetables and stuff like that, and but there's a lot of junk in there as well, a lot of processed food, very busy family and stuff like that, and just not taking care of myself. So I've been suffering from heartburn, chronic heartburn, noticing that there's certain foods that will trigger it instantly. So if I even take a sip of milk, I will have heartburn within 20 minutes. So to me, what I call heartburn is where you get that like acid reflux sort of happening, to the point where it's keeping me awake at night. I'm not sleeping well. All the things that could go wrong as I'm coming up to my 50th birthday were going wrong. The only good thing is that I think I've gone into menopause, because my monthly cycle has completely stopped. In the last 3 years, I've only had a period twice, and the last one was a very long time ago. It was about 18 months ago, and didn't last very long. I haven't had hormonal headaches, so I'm not having those fluctuations of hormones. So I can only assume I haven't had hot flushes or anything like that. I've definitely not tolerating people's crap as much. I get a little bit snippy very quickly. So I haven't had any blood tests or anything to see if I have gone into menopause, even if there are blood tests out there to tell me that. I know they can check your hormone levels and stuff like that. So anyway, I'm just going to say yes, I've gone into menopause, because it's giving me all those signs. And I've been thinking about my diet for over the last probably 18 months, going, I really need to get this in check. I'm getting older. It's going to be harder to recover. It's going to become harder and harder and harder. I've noticed that I've become more bloated. Everything is changing basically. So and I've always been a bit of a nutritional freak, and I've always read about it and stuff like that. I wouldn't say I'm an expert in it by any means, but I've always been interested in it. So in the last 18 months, I have been seriously considering going back to being a vegetarian. So I did skip out one major bit in my story. When I was 15, I grew up in a typical household, 3 meat and veg, but I also have a very ethnic background. So my father's parents are from Egypt and Malta, and we ate a lot of that sort of food when I was younger. So basically, I grew up on a traditional English diet and also a Middle Eastern diet. So a combination of the two, where most times it was just 3 meat and veg. On weekends when we went to visit family and stuff like that, it was more the Mediterranean. When I was 15, I went out with some friends and I got a severe case of food poisoning from a hamburger that I had ate, and basically I just could not stomach the smell of meat cooking or anything, and I became vegetarian for a very long time. Well, not necessarily vegetarian. I did eat fish when I went to my grandparents' place, so I guess what's the name for a pescatarian? So I guess I was a pescatarian for many years, and I didn't burden other people with my dietary choice, because I just couldn't stomach meat. So I think up until I was with my husband, when I met him at 31, I think I had chicken maybe 5 times in that 15-16 years, and I had fish every now and again. But when I was at home by myself, it was purely vegetarian. But I still ate cheese, eggs, and all that sort of stuff. So I was just like vegetarian. And then I moved in with my husband, and he is very much an Anglo-Saxon 3 meat and veg type. Loves his milk and all the rest of it. And I maintained my diet for some time, but when the kids come along, and like I already had a couple of kids by that stage, because Brendan is my third partner, and basically life choices, made some bad ones. And so basically, my diet just went by the wayside, and that's when I started to notice that my body had changed. I get a lot of comments about my skin. As I said, I'm 50 and stuff like that. I've never really done any sort of skincare or anything like that. I think just the amount of water that I've drunk over my life, and having that vegetarian diet, that it's really helped maintain my skin and not have acne and stuff like that. So I attribute, whether that's the truth or the truth of the matter or not, I attribute my diet, those years of the vegetarian diet, to the health of my skin, my nails, and my body. Like, I don't think that there was anything wrong with meat or anything like that. I just chose to be vegetarian because I couldn't stand the smell. I couldn't even go into a butcher, and while I was pregnant, I couldn't even go near a butcher. Just the smell was putrid. And so, but I still, when I was with my husband, like with Brendan, when I got with him, I still cooked meat and stuff like that. For him, it didn't bother me to cook it. I just didn't want to eat it. And then slowly but surely, it just became less and less convenient, because our lifestyle changed and all the rest of it, for me to maintain the 2 separate menus. So I caved and started eating meat. So fast forward back to 18 months ago, I started thinking about, what can I do? Because I don't believe in going to a doctor to get a pill. Like, I do take thyroxine. Otherwise, I'm, dropping off. I'd already had 2 naps just filming this video. And so basically, I have been making little changes over the last 18 months. I've incorporated a hell of a lot more vegetables and stuff into my diet that I didn't have there for my 30s. Probably from about 42 onwards, I've incorporated more vegetables back into my diet. It's nothing for me to eat half a plate of salad with a little piece of meat, fish, or chicken. But yeah, I've been watching a few YouTubers and some doctors that are believing in want people to know the benefits of a plant-based diet. So I've been looking into that a little bit more. Going back to my vegetarian roots, I've actually cut out a lot of meat out of my diet in the last 12 months. I do have meat with my meals, but I try to have at least 3, sometimes 4, where I just have vegetarian meals. So not every single meal in one day will have an animal product in it. So the first thing was I started to weed out eggs and stuff like that. So I've been doing that for a little bit. I used to eat a lot of eggs for breakfast. It'd be nothing to have 2 or 3 eggs in a scramble, and I'd have that on toast with mushrooms and tomato and avocado and all that sort of stuff. So for me to make the transition back to vegetarianism hasn't been that big a deal. So in the last 18 months, as I said, I've been doing that more and more. In the last 6 months, I've added more vegetables, fruit, and all that sort of stuff. Still eating meat, still eating a lot of meat in comparison to what I used to. Not as much fish, because I'm in the country and I haven't been able to get as much fish and stuff like that. So come December, I think it was November, December, a friend of mine was having some issues with her diabetes and stuff like that, and it was sort of a wake-up call for me that I had gestational diabetes with my last 2 children. I have a 50% more chance, according to my doctors, I have a 50% chance of developing type 2 diabetes. And that's probably what spurred on the exercise and everything through my 40s, the extreme exercise and stuff like that. So, and she's doing a program, she's doing a study through one of the universities where she lives, and they put her on a strict a vegan diet, and basically she's lost 10 kilos in 2 months. I haven't spoken to her in depth, but she looks amazing, and all the rest of it. And it sort of got me thinking, so, you know, if the university is doing a study on a plant-based diet, you know, there must be something to it. So I've started doing a little bit more research and stuff like that. And I'm going to say that I've been very ignorant to a lot of things surrounding this. You know, like I've got friends, like even my husband, he'll sit there and go, oh, he's vegan. You know, they've got things to say about it and stuff like that. And I'm not here to do any of that or pass judgment on anybody. And hopefully you don't do that to me either. I'm just here to vlog my journey, as I said, maybe for me, or maybe someone else might get some something out of it. So basically I'm doing this from a very ignorant position. I've been vegetarian, and I love the food and I love the creativity of the food. I can cook and all that, so that's not going to be an issue for me. What's going to be the issue is the time. I have 2 teenage daughters and a 5-year-old granddaughter that lives with me, and I own my own business and my husband owns a business. So it is a very hectic household at times, especially when business gets crazy and stuff like that. So I decided that I wasn't going to include my family in it. So none of them, except for my eldest daughter that's still living at home, knows that I am actually not eating meat. None of them have even noticed that I'm not eating meat. I started about 2 weeks ago, and I actually have gone completely vegan. So I have actually had no animal products for 2 weeks, and I'm excited. I'm actually really excited. I don't even know how to explain how I feel. There is something to this. So basically what happened was I came across a video, and I think it's on plant-based news. I think it was the video it was on, and it was the exam room. And he was interviewing a doctor, and for the life of me, I cannot remember the name of this doctor. And he is a whole food plant-based diet doctor, and he believes wholeheartedly that it is the key to everything. So basically, but he's not preachy either. He gives you the facts behind his statements. And I was watching it, and basically they have a 21-day program. I haven't joined the 21 day, and I thought, you know what, I can do something for 21 days. Anybody can do, and that's what they said in it too, anybody can do something for 21 days. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a go for 21 days. I watched that on the Saturday. I decided I would start on the Monday, and basically I was doing shopping on the Monday, so it was easy for me to start that day. I already had, you know, fruit and vegetables and stuff in the cupboard and in the refrigerator, and I had like grains and stuff in the cupboard. I have quinoa, I have brown rice, I have beans, tin beans, I have dry beans, I have lentils, I have all that stuff, because I still eat a lot of the food that I used to eat from 15 to 30 when I was a vegetarian. So I still have a lot of those foods in there, and I still have like the vegetables and everything in the crisper and stuff like that. So I just had to go and get a few other little different things. I haven't completely taken out salt, and I haven't completely taken out oil. I do like to have a little bit of olive oil and stuff like that in my diet. I haven't taken those things out. I'm not going to the absolute extreme. I weighed myself back then, and I was 87 kilos, and I've weighed myself this morning, and I'm down to just getting close to 85 kilos. I don't have a digital scale, so I've just got an old school scale here. So I'm just getting towards the 85. So I've actually lost a little bit of weight in 2 weeks. Most of that's probably just, you know, water weight that I've lost, because that's quite common when you first start changing your diet. and now I'm going to get a little bit personal here. Another reason that I thought that I really needed to go back to vegetarianism is because when I had my children, like any woman knows, there is a side effect that you get from having children, and that is the lovely condition of hemorrhoids. And they were really acting up. And I noticed the days that I had more fruit and vegetables in my diet, I was able to go to the toilet a lot easier than when I had had something that had meat in it. And I'm quite regular. I go every morning without fail, like clockwork, have done for years, even eating meat and all the rest of it. Still, that morning time is when I go, hi, I'm Sheldon. I have a bathroom routine. And basically, I was starting to take note of the different things. And, you know, I've been to the doctors and had it all checked out and all that, so I'm all good there. So basically, I was having issues and a lot of pain. Now, no one wants to have that pain. So basically, this is where all the things were compounding, and I noticed, and so 2 weeks ago, I cut out all animal products. I have gone to the toilet regularly as usual. Nothing has changed there, but there's been no pain, no gut pain. Bloating is still, like I've still got a little bit of issue with that, but it's getting better. Probably yesterday, so day 13, 14, I started to notice there was a big difference. I woke up in the morning, I was feeling a lot lighter. I'm getting through the day feeling a lot lighter. And some of the things that have really changed for me is that I was sleeping all the time. I was having an afternoon sleep, and I like to cut a nap, a little bit of a siesta, even if it's just half an hour, but I'm having a sleep, not a nap. So I was going to sleep for up to 2 hours. I'm still having a little bit of a nap, just to rest and reset before I pick the kids up. So I at 2 o'clock, I just go and lay down, close my eyes. I don't necessarily go to sleep, but like a little power nap, and I feel refreshed when I wake up. Then I go and pick up the kids from school now and stuff like that. So I haven't been hungry, and prior to me doing this, so I started testing my fasting blood levels, and they were up a bit. They were over 6 because I've got a diabetes tester here. They were over 6, and sometimes they were around 7. That's high. That's getting, like, you got a little gauge on the side. It was getting up into the high margin. As of this morning, I am back down in the mid-range, so that's good. Still a little bit high for my liking, but I'd like it to be down closer to 5, around that mark, a 5.2 maybe. So that's improved. That's just my own thing that I've checked, and I feel better. My head is clearer. I don't feel as lethargic. I was feeling really down and not depressed, but just feeling down and flat all the time. So basically, the first week I felt a little bit off, but there was stuff going on around me as well that was making me feel a bit off. I felt good within myself, but I was a little bit off. So I can't really gauge the first week because there was environmental factors happening around me. But this week I feel very clear in the mind. I've noticed in the mornings I've been waking up looking like, seriously, I look like I'm dead when I wake up. I've got really dark bags under my eyes, and I'm just pale as can be. It looks like I've just woken up from death. So not a real good look. I've noticed in the last week my cheeks have become more rosy, and the bags under my eyes are starting to dissipate, and I feel really good. So so I'm at the 2 week mark. I've still got 7 days to go until I get to my 21 days. Enjoying it. Some of the things I've been eating is I've gone back to eating my I eat like a whole wheat bread with some avocado and tomato on that for breakfast. For lunch, I've been having sometimes I'll have a salad, and I might have a couple of falafel in it. And I'm lucky my Woolworths actually sells a couple of different varieties, so I just buy a couple of different varieties. They're pre-made. I don't have to worry about it because I'm still doing the convenience thing because I'm so busy. So I'll have and I cook up some rice. So this week I've been cooking up brown rice and quinoa. It comes mixed. in a bag already, so I just put that in the rice cooker. I cook a big thing of that, and then I have some of that. So in the last couple of weeks, I've been watching a lot of documentaries, and the plant-based news one, and the exam room, and a couple of subsequently you get other YouTubers that are doing plant-based and all the rest of it. So I've come across it, like I've followed High Carb Hannah for a while as well. I've followed her for probably about nearly 2 years now, on a couple of recipe books I have in my Kindle, and I've just started recently following and watching a few videos from Plantful Kiki, and she sort of has the same story as I do. You know, a lot of weight. She's only short like me. She's under 5. I think she said she's just getting on 5'4". I'm just on 5'4". So I've been watching a lot of what she does, and she's making it look really simple, whereas a lot of other people have to have all these wonderful ingredients and stuff like that, but here in Australia we can't find a lot of the stuff. So I've been watching a lot of High Carb Hannah and her, and I think they've I think I've heard this morning that they've actually teamed up, and they've got some sort of thing going, but I'm not sort of interested in that. I've subsequently purchased books and stuff like that. I just like how easy she makes it, and I've also been following Sweet Potato Soul, I think she is. Yeah, she has some wonderful foods and stuff like that, and some wonderful recipes as well. So basically at this point, I just wanted to make this video, which I didn't think it was going to be this long, but yeah, make this video, tell you a little bit about my story and where my journey is. I haven't taken my measurements. I've only taken my weight at this point. Although I did put my black skirt on that was quite tight a few weeks ago, and it was loose on me yesterday, and I checked the elastic to see if the elastic had gone in it, and it hasn't. So I'm definitely losing size. I am actually going to take my size and everything today, which, as I said, is the 20th. Actually, I might wait until the 1st. I'll take it from the 1st, and we'll just go from there, 1st of February. And then I'm just sort of going to check in with you guys probably once a week or something like that. Don't worry, I'm not going to do any, at this point, I'm not going to do any videos or recipes or anything like that. I'm just doing this purely as a vlog. I'll let you know what I've eaten and stuff like that, if I've slipped up, what I slipped up on and stuff like that. Like, I do love my chocolate, and I found a really nice chocolate here in my town that I can get from Woolworths. So, and I just have a little bit just to, you know, just a little sneaky bit, because, you know, I don't want to give up everything on that, but it's a vegan chocolate. So yeah, I'm going to give it a go at vegan. I'm definitely not going back to eating any meat at this point. But I'll see how I go. I have to find a substitute for eggs, and I found a substitute for cheese, because I really do like cheese. I just sometimes like to have a Promite and cheese sandwich. So I found a vegan cheese, and yeah, so I'm making some switches and stuff like that, but predominantly I am eating a whole food plant-based diet. So that's where I'm going. I've got a ton of literature to read through, and as I said, I'm watching lots of not movies, documentaries and stuff like that on it. And the more I watch, and the longer that I'm doing this, the better I'm actually feeling. So I'm going to sign off for now. I just wanted to share that with you. If you've got any questions at all, just leave them down below. As I said, you know what, I was just going to do this as a journey for me, and if you want to come along with me, just know that I am a sewing channel, and this is just going to be a little bit of a snippet that I put in once a week, just about how I'm going and how my health is shaping up and all the rest of it. I'm trying to get into my doctor so I can get a full blood work done up, and then that way we can see some of the differences, say in 6 months time. I'm feeling really good right now. I'm going through some personal issues in my life, and I'm feeling awesome, and I'm feeling like I can tackle it. So it'll be interesting to see. So yeah, I'm happy to commit to this for 6 months, and then we'll revisit it 6 months whether I'm going to add things back into my diet or not, and how much weight I've lost, because I'm more doing this for health reasons. So I do have to lose a little bit of weight because I am very overweight for my height. And yeah, so that's the main reason that I'm doing it, is for health So I will sign off for now, and I will see you all again next week with another update with how I'm going. Have a great week, everybody, and stay healthy. Bye.